There is a quiet moment that comes around every month. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It slips in gently, often in the early morning or late at night. You might be sitting at the kitchen table or standing near a window. Nothing bad is happening. And yet, something inside you feels unsettled. You may not even have words for it, just a tightening in the chest, a sense of waiting for something you can't name, a feeling that used to visit rarely, but now seems to arrive on a schedule of its own. You tell yourself everything is fine. You've handled harder things in life. You're not panicking. You're not falling apart. Still, there's that quiet restlessness that returns again and again. Sometimes it shows up when bills arrive, not because you can't pay them, but because opening envelopes feels heavier than it used to. Sometimes it comes when the month turns over, a new page. Another reminder that time keeps moving whether you're ready or not. You may notice yourself checking accounts more often than you need to, or replaying conversations in your mind, or lying awake a little longer at night, listening to the house settle. You're not afraid exactly. It's something softer than fear and harder to explain. You might wonder why this feeling didn't exist before, or why it started after retirement, when life was supposed to slow down. You worked hard for decades, you were responsible, you planned as best you could. So why does this unease keep returning month after month? Sometimes you don't talk about it. Not because you're hiding something, but because it feels unnecessary to worry others, or because you don't want to sound ungrateful. After all, many people would say you're lucky, and maybe you are, but that doesn't erase what you feel in the quiet moments. You might ask yourself questions you never used to ask. What if something unexpected happens? What if I misjudge something small that turns out to matter later? What if I outlive my sense of certainty? You don't. Dwell on these thoughts all day. They come and go, but they leave a trace, a background hum of alertness that never fully switches off. There's a kind of vigilance that develops after retirement. Not loud, not dramatic, just steady. As if part of you is always listening for trouble, even when none is present. You may notice that this feeling peaks at the same time every month, not because anything new is happening, but because something old is being remembered. A rhythm from years of working, paydays, deadlines, responsibilities tied to dates on a calendar. Your body remembers routines even when your life has changed. It remembers pressure. It remembers being needed. It remembers the reassurance that came from regular structure. When that structure shifts, even gently, the mind starts filling in the gaps, not with panic, with questions. Another part of this unease comes from something rarely spoken aloud. Retirement removes noise, the meetings, the schedules, the constant movement. In that quieter space, thoughts have more room to surface. Thoughts about time, about independence, about what it means to rely on systems instead of a paycheck. Even when those systems are steady, trusting them can feel unfamiliar. You may feel responsible in a new way now, not for a workplace or a family schedule, but for your own sense of safety, your own calm. And that responsibility can feel surprisingly heavy some days. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean you failed to plan. It means you're aware. It means you're human. As the month goes on, the feeling often fades. Life resumes its normal pace. You get busy with small tasks. You enjoy moments of ease. You forget about that tension. Then the next month arrives, and there it is again, quiet, persistent, familiar. At some point, you might start to wonder if this is just how things are now. If this low-level anxiety is the price of getting older, if peace is something that belongs to earlier chapters of life. But that thought, too, deserves to be examined gently. There is an important shift that happens in retirement, and it often goes unnoticed. For many years, your sense of security came from movement, from doing, from earning, from solving problems as they appeared. Now, security comes from steadiness, from continuity, from trusting what has already been built. That's a very different muscle. And it takes time to learn how to use it. Monthly anxiety often isn't about money itself, it's about control, or rather, the feeling that control has changed shape. Before, you controlled outcomes through action. Now you control them through awareness and restraint, through patience, through acceptance. That transition can feel unsettling, even when nothing is actually wrong. There's also the quiet reality that time feels more visible now. Months don't blur together the way they used to. Each one feels distinct, marked. And with that awareness comes reflection. What has changed? What still feels solid? What do I need to protect? These are not anxious questions by nature. They are thoughtful ones, but When they appear without answers, the body interprets them as tension. The middle of this experience is not about fixing anything. It's about understanding what your mind is trying to do for you. That monthly unease is not your enemy. It's your mind checking in, scanning the horizon, making sure you're still safe. The problem isn't the feeling itself. It's when the feeling is misunderstood. When you tell yourself you shouldn't feel this way, when you compare yourself to others, when you push the sensation away instead of listening to it. Anxiety grows when it's ignored or judged. It softens when it's acknowledged. You might notice that when you pause and name the feeling quietly, it loses some of its edge. Not analyzed, just recognized. There is a difference between danger and uncertainty. Retirement is full of uncertainty, but uncertainty does not mean harm. As the years pass, many retirees learn something subtle and powerful. Peace does not come from eliminating all worry. It comes from knowing how to sit with it without letting it take over. This kind of peace is slower, quieter, less dramatic, but more durable. You may begin to notice that the anxious moment passes more quickly when you don't fight it, that your body settles when you remind yourself that you've navigated change before, that you're allowed to adjust even now. There is dignity in adaptation. There is strength in learning new emotional rhythms later in life. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not fragile. You are responding to a life phase that asks different questions than the ones you've answered for decades. As time goes on, many people find that the monthly anxiety transforms. It becomes less sharp, less personal, more like a passing cloud than a permanent condition. And even on the months when it returns, you may notice something new, a deeper trust in yourself, a quieter confidence that you can meet the feeling without being overwhelmed by it. Retirement was never meant to be perfectly calm. It was meant to be spacious. And spaciousness includes moments of reflection, uncertainty, and growth. You are allowed to feel unsettled. Sometimes it does not cancel out the good. It does not diminish your worth. It simply reminds you that you are still alive to your own experience. As you sit with this understanding, the anxiety often loses its urgency. It no longer needs to shout to be heard. It can soften into awareness. And in that awareness, many retirees discover something unexpected. A gentler relationship with time. A deeper respect for their own resilience. A quieter kind of confidence that doesn't depend on constant reassurance. You don't need to rush this process. You don't need to master it. You only need to stay present with yourself. The months will continue to turn. Feelings will come and go. And through it all, you remain here, capable, thoughtful, still learning. And sometimes simply knowing that is enough to let the quiet settle back into peace.